Meanwhile, a small business in West Seattle will close in a few weeks. West Seattle Produce is being pushed out by the hot real estate market. KIRO 7's Essex Porter tells us the owners want to reopen at a new location, but aren't so sure they can find one they can afford.
No one has to shop at West Seattle Produce. There are plenty of supermarkets blocks away. But customers come here because they love to.
Are you looking for anything else in particular?
Apples, oranges, tomatoes, and avocados. Fruits and vegetables are the merchandise here, but the product is something special.
I think it's the sense of community.
Robert Marks is the co-owner.
We know everybody from around the block, and they can come in here with their dogs, with their kids, with their moms, dads, relatives that are visiting, and it's kind of like family.
The Kretsch family drove 20 miles from Des Moines.
The produce is just more quality than what you find at your big box grocery store. So.
Andrea Hatchfeld bought fruit for her restaurant.
Now we have a party tonight, so we're doing a little fresh fruit platter and picked up some stuff from here.
But after 6 years in this location, another 4 across the street, West Seattle Produce has to close in a few weeks. Its home will be torn down to make room for a new apartment complex.
This will be our final hurrah, I think. But it's sad just because of all the faces.
Founder Bruce McPherson knew this was coming someday.
Rents have just gotten so high that we've been looking for a long time, but it's just hard with the high rents to probably do this again, I think.
But co-owner Marks believes they can find a place to continue the work he's done since the age of 14.
The spring of 2018 would be the goal.
Until then, something special will be missing.
Well, just the friendly people here are super nice. You don't get this kind of quality of service at a regular grocery store.
Now, there's still plenty of time to shop at West Seattle Produce. Right now, it looks like the store won't close until just before Christmas. In Seattle, Essex Porter, KIRO 7 News.
The holiday season officially kicked off this morning with the Macy's Holiday Parade in downtown Seattle. And KIRO 7's traffic anchor Rachel Calderon shows us the sights and sounds of this holiday tradition.
Thousands bundled up and lined up early for a good seat to the start of the Christmas season. More than 40 million people watched the New York City version of the parade on TV, but seeing the My Macy's Holiday Parade up close in Seattle is an annual tradition for Lisa and Cindy, who also coordinate costumes for the event.
We always do something. Yeah, this year's more than we usually do. This is a little bit more, but we figured it was worth it.
Dancing Christmas trees, wagons full of candy canes, St. Bernard's, marching bands, and inflatable characters are just to keep the kids distracted while they wait for
Santa! Santa! I want to feel the baby alive. Adults mommy and then mommy.
Did you get all that?
A Nintendo Switch for Christmas.
How old are you?
7.
How have you been a good boy this year?
Yes.
Tanner Blitzen! Fly away! Merry Christmas!
The guy in the big red suit finally stepped off his sleigh and arrived at Macy's, where he'll be until he heads back to the North Pole on Christmas Eve.
All right. Merry Christmas!
And the parade isn't the only festivities going on. The carousel just started this morning and sticks around till January 1st. In Westlake Park, Rachel Calderon, KIRO 7 News.
Yeah, the celebrations continue.
Thousands and thousands of gallons of water are rushing out of a retention pond. Downhill to Kent Thomas's house.
I definitely got the worst of it.
Thomas hurried home from work after a call from his son.
I quickly realized that we had about a foot of water downstairs.
Their home of more than 20 years was filling with water. We asked to see inside.
It's a mess. I mean, doesn't make me happy, but there's nothing I can do about it.
Couches, rugs, TVs soaked. So much water, this pot was floating. The most expensive damage was in the garage.
I can't even begin to tell you how much stuff I got in my garage. Expensive tools that were sitting underwater.
Up the street, workers stacked sandbags and used a fire hose to try to divert the water. And pumps to move it to a different drainage pipe. From Chopper 7, you can see what's flooding the neighborhood, the retention pond and wetland nearby. The road was closed, so much standing water. We wanted to see just how deep it is, so I put on my hip waders. Let's go check it out. Well, this is as far as I'm gonna go, but you can see it gets even deeper. Neighbors tell us the storm drains have backed up here before, but nothing like this.
Who should have to pay to fix all this?
Probably the city, I would say. I mean, the way I see it, it's storm drains are their responsibility.
So we asked the city, who pays for that?
That I don't have an answer to. A lot of questions. I acknowledge that. We just don't have the answers. We are trying to deal with the response and stop it from flooding into other people's homes.
Today, Syrian refugees gather to celebrate their freedom, families, and for most of them, their first Thanksgiving. The dinner was organized by volunteers who hope the kindness of the community lasts much longer than one day. Cairo 7's Allison Grandy takes us inside their celebration.
It started as an idea in a living room to share Thanksgiving dinner with a family of Syrian refugees, and quickly grew to this. Today's Syrian refugee families came together with the volunteers determined to help them make their lives better, and celebrated Thanksgiving. There was turkey and all the fixings, but this gathering was about so much more.
Comfort, a sense of community, connection to Seattle. I hope everyone leaves today with a new friend.
Kirsten Leah Rogers teaches English to Syrian children and their mothers. She and a friend came up with this idea together 2 years ago.
We have an opportunity to welcome people to our city after pretty terrible hardships that are hard to imagine, and we have a chance to welcome them and make them feel at home when they've lost their home, they've lost their families.
Today, these smiles show happiness, relief, and hope.
I'm so happy to be here.
Ala Bazara is 11 years old. She came to Seattle with her parents and sister. Her niece Isla was born here 6 months ago.
She's born from America.
This family is thankful to be safe in Seattle.
She's in a place that's very safe and her family is safe, but she came out of a war zone out of Syria.
Rita Zawaida helps Syrian refugees overseas and when they arrive in the Seattle area.
It's really unbelievable to see the kids here and how they're adjusting to this life, but really realizing that we still have millions more that we can't get over here because the borders have been closed.
For Maher and his family, this is their second Thanksgiving with this new Seattle family.
And this means that we're not alone and you guys are here for us. And we're very thankful for that.
His daughter Aya taught us a phrase in Arabic.
فرصة سعيدة.
And what does that mean?
Like so Thanksgiving.
On this board, people are writing what they're thankful for. Someone wrote, my home. Someone else says, sharing kindness. And then up here, someone wrote, being alive. In Seattle this Thanksgiving, Allison Grandy, Cairo 7 News.
Certainly a lot to be thankful for.
Cairo 7 News at 6 o'clock starts right now.
Tonight, some trucking company owners are crying foul over clean air rules.
We spend all the money up front. Literally millions.
It's not the rules they're complaining about, but the port's decision to not enforce them.
They've put us at a huge economic disadvantage.
New at 6, the reasoning behind the decision as trucking companies prepare to go to court. And the new rules requiring trucks to have cleaner engines, they are set to go into effect January 1st. Good evening, I'm Dave Wagner.
I'm Monique Minglavin. Now, if that deadline is extended, at least 10 trucking company owners say they will sue. And Cairo 7's Deborah Horn is live right now in Seattle's Duwamish neighborhood. Deborah, the port issued this mandate for these clean air requirements 10 years ago.
And Monique, now less than a month before the standards are to be enforced, the port is saying that they should hold off for at least a year. As you might guess, it has left some truckers so incensed, they say they will see the ports in court.
This is the fuel tank for these Kenworths, and this is the DEF tank.
Rob Graham is eager to show us how he has outfitted his fleet of Graham trucks with the newest, cleanest engines.
There's a lot to these trucks that we didn't have to do before. It all costs money.
Money, he says, he spent to meet new clean air standards for trucks set by the ports of Seattle and Tacoma back in 2007. And the costs don't stop there.
You get less fuel efficiency now because of all the emission stuff. These trucks literally live in the shop, so it's a ton of money.
Now that money may have been spent for naught. Since the new rules were issued, the Seattle and Tacoma ports have merged into the Northwest Seaport Alliance. No one from the ports would talk to us on camera, but they say just half the trucks that use the ports are in compliance. Many independent truckers have struggled to pay for new, cleaner engines.
This is a serious public health risk that we thought we were on our way to helping alleviate.
Puget Sound Clean Air Agency's Craig Kenworthy says the ports knew not all truckers would be compliant by January 1st, but that is no reason to extend the deadline even 1 year. Is a year so terrible?
Well, so a year, the port staff estimated to their commissions, and we think this is a good approximate estimate, that a year of delaying the truck deadline would produce 65 more tons of toxic diesel pollution in the areas around the ports in Seattle and Tacoma.
Rob Graham says he and 9 other truck companies plan to sue.
Clean air was important then, but it's not important now. I don't know. I think they should enforce the mandate.
Now, the people at the ports tell us that many of the truckers who cannot comply with the new rules are immigrants, those who have not earned enough to be able to do what they are supposed to do to meet these new rules. Rob Graham says, however, that money should be set aside for those truckers who did the right thing. We're told the port commissioners could issue their decision early next year. Reporting live in Duwamish, Deborah Horn, KIRO 7 News.
Right now,